What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 186 of Littleroot Lessons. Carl, we are sorry for all of the other openings. This is like attempt number 4. We are doing great.
I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm pretty sure it's Jay's fault. That's all I know.
Oh no, it's both of you.
Yeah.
Me
I
too.
didn't do anything. I sat here.
I
My name-
existed in the wrong place at the wrong time. Angelo was ready to start. I wasn't, and a lot of
That's the best
chaos.
part is, like, no one's gonna ever know. It's just like Jay's literally running around his room doing a marathon. Angelo's literally doing the intro, and I'm just like, what is going on right now?
I was just going to close my door, man. Like a marathon. Like I know I'm not as fast as I used to be, but damn, like, that's rough.
So this is an intro. This is one of the intros of all time. What are we doing?
Even introduce the names. We have a few things on the books. First of all, I'm back.
We're 186 episodes in. We're 186 episodes in at this point. If people don't know who I am, at least.
Oh yeah,
it's
I mean,
okay.
that's
We don't
important.
need introductions. We're not new or anything. It's
No.
fine.
Do we want to restart? Are we cool with this intro?
Okay, is Carl going to be mad at us? That's the only question.
I think we do. I think we restart.
Let's restart. We're restarting. Jesus.
Because I think starting by apologizing to Carl is the bad option.
Very much so.
Because we're just gonna fucking divert. We're gonna go on to attempt 7.
Okay.
Like what is this? Are we fucking Nuzlocke running this fucking this fucking intro?
You just beat me to it.
God damn.
No, want me to tell you what Carl's going to do with this later? He's going to have like a super cut, like through like the next 3 months of just all of our bloopers that he just had to remove, and it's going to be great.
Straight to the FBI.
I think what we need to do is just have a like private feed for the Patreons and just like upload the unedited version.
Just the second we press record, yeah. Okay, for real this time.
For actual realsies this time.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Okay. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Littleroot Lessons, episode 186. I am Ro, back from my 1 week of PTO, where I was talked about poorly while I was not in the show. Carter, Jay, what do you have to say for yourselves?
To be fair, it wasn't you we were bad-mouthing directly.
Was my baby boy.
I don't recall.
To be fair, that was last week. I don't remember what I did yesterday, so...
Yeah, I don't remember what I did a couple hours ago. You know,
Well, that's because the Ravens lost. You want to forget about all that.
Wait, the Ravens played today? Seriously?
All I'm saying is, imagine like.
Good thing I didn't know.
Yeah. Imagine having your football team with a loss. Legitimately, could not be me.
In about 24 hours, you'll know the feeling. So,
no,
Patience is a virtue.
You know what they say.
The amount of times today I said, "Oh, it's over. We won. Yeah." And then it wasn't over, and then we didn't win. It was a lot more times than we won today, and that was 0. So
are we just a sports podcast now?
No, we aren't. We are going to be a Pokemon podcast, and that is why I'm here.
We always have been a sports podcast. I don't know what you're talking about. This has never been a Pokemon podcast. It's always been about sports.
Yeah.
So
Esports.
Hard transitioning, getting us a little more on track here. This week we're going to be talking about there was a 400 plus player regulation tournament. We're going to go over the top 8 and results from, and then probably jumping into the new and returning Pokemon from the DLC for a tier list. So
it's a tier list episode, folks.
Always are. They're always a blast. I'm very excited to see how this goes with the new crew and get our feet under us and all that good stuff, trying to figure stuff out. So just a quick thing here at the top. it was announced today that the next Pokemon Scarlet and Violet online competition has been revealed, called the Kitakami Prologue. It's a doubles battle competition using only the Kitakami Pokédex. So that's something that you're interested in. I don't have dates or anything like that because I am really bad at my job.
I actually do have
October
dates.
6th through the 8th, and the registration is the 2nd through the 8th.
All right, cool,
Yep.
cool, cool. So, like, just kind of brainstorming for a second. Um, I mean, Rillaboom's not legal. We don't
No.
have Urshifu. Can we do like actual rain things? Can we just do like Politoed plus Ludicolo plus like Ogerpon and just have it be good enough?
I was going to say, if like for that specifically, I do Polyto Basculesian because Basculesian's illegal.
Oh, all right, yeah, that's probably way better
Yeah.
than Ludicolo.
I mean, like, yeah,
Mm.
or just like, I mean, you could probably throw together generic good stuffs. It's not going to be a tournament where you can earn points towards your world's invite. It'll probably be just a classic, like, I was going to say 50 BP, but there is no BP anymore. I'm still stuck in Generation 8 and earlier. Like 10,000 league points or whatever. So yeah, that's that. Let's move on to a tournament that instead of having a fake dollar prize, had an actual real prize pool of $250, and that being the VGC Trainer School Open, which is their first Reg E tournament with 409 people partaking, including some heavy hitters such as Joe UX9 and Wolfie Glick, who did in top 8.
So up on screen now, we have the this is the Lab Mouse page that someone threw together. I actually have no idea who actually ran the stuff for it to produce this, but
So I
yeah, huge
tried
shout out
doing it.
to.
I tried doing
But
it. Thanks. I was going to say I tried doing it. I couldn't lab mouse right, and then Yeet in Dad's server got this for me. So shout out Yeet for knowing how to use bots that I clearly don't know how to use.
and
Shout
also
out
huge
Yeet.
shout outs to Tim for once again putting together Lab Mouse so we can actually use this for data analysis and all that good stuff. So to the surprise of no one, Fluttermane's still really good.
Yeah.
All right, cool, good talk. Next up we have
Urshifu
So
Dark won and took second place. I
very
think,
interesting. Okay.
yeah, that's one of the few times that I've seen it top a tournament over the Urshifu Rapid Strike, which is
Mm-hmm.
really interesting and probably says something considering there's, 4 new grass types that entered the format, all named Ogerpon.
So what's actually really interesting about this, there are 5 Urshifu and top cuts, 3 of which are single strike. Finishing first, second, and 7th. The highest placing single strike or rapid strike is down here in 4th. Right? I'm not missing any. They're all in that one column.
Yep,
Cool.
they
Okay.
yep.
Cool.
are
Cool.
all
Cool.
in that one column.
So, like, I mean, it's really interesting to think that in a format that predominantly has been dominated by Flutterbane in Regulation D, uh, single strike Urshifu was not really completely viable. The fact that you also had a plethora of like viable dark types in Chi-Yu and Chien Pao made it where you just really didn't need it, right? And so now that we're moving to a format where we have a lot more predominant grass types, and we also have water ogre pond, which we'll get to at some point. There's more viable water types or more viable grass types to be able to threaten said water types. It's really interesting to see this transition to single strike Urshifu to be able to pressure all the opposing Pokemon that way.
Yeah, I think the number 7 Pokemon, the Water Ogre Pond, which had a ton of usage, Water Pond having Water Absorb as an ability is huge because it just turns into a complete hard counter of Waterfu because like you can't touch it unless you're carrying close combat, which I mean, as recently as Worlds and probably we saw a little in Pittsburgh as well. People were dropping the fighting coverage on Urshifu for attacks such as Sword Stance or even Taunt. because 99% of the time you just want to click Surging Strikes regardless because it does so much damage. So just having a Follow Me Water Absorb Pokemon that can then also just use a Grass type attack to get a super effective hit on the Urshifu does make it a clear. It does like clearly change things. I think overall, even though we did have Fluttermane as the number one Pokemon, like if you combine the two Ogerpon forms, they would like if you combine these two Ogerpon forms, they are the number one Pokemon in this tournament in terms of
And
usage.
that's just those two. That's not counting the other two forms as well.
It is not, and I think it's like when we go into our tier listing, I think we can clearly see like that the Fire Mask and the Water Mask versions of Ogerpon, at least for early meta right now, are the two best. The other two are insanely good, but right now these two are the best positioned Pokemon. What do
Yeah,
you?
the Hearthflame Mask is actually the number 8 most used item in the entire tour, which is really funny.
That's so
And
funny. I hadn't even noticed
also
that.
something that hasn't been very popular in the recent formats, the Terra Fire is actually the third highest Terra type, which I
So I
also
was
think has to attribute to the 117 out of the 317
Yep.
Terra Fires there,
so like if
which
you
is
take out those, I mean, there's still 200 fire type Terra types. I mean, that
yeah.
drops it from third down to seventh,
Yeah,
which
but I
that
also
is a huge difference. But if you look at water, if you take out the 112 water pawns, water is still the number one Terra type.
well I think
Yeah.
it's
Well, water is just like an extremely
Water's a
consistent
really good
defensive
Terra type.
typing. It's very good with Terra Blast, and when Pokemon like Fire Ogerpon are running around, it's nice to be able to resist that Ivy Cudgel. To make them play that mind game with, can I use Wood Hammer here to read the Terra? Am I clicking Ivy Cudgel to try to get that super effective damage? And it's also interesting, I think, with the like looking at Ogerpon with the common cores, the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon actually appears 4 times, and it's makes up the number 2 core, the number 3 core, and the number 5 core as compared to the Hearthflame, which is a little bit lower on the usage despite having higher usage overall. Only by
What's really
5 Pokemon
interesting,
though.
I was gonna say, what's really interesting to me is if you look at the common cores, it's Flutterbane, Hands, Landorus, Pick, and Ogerpon.
yep.
Yeah. And 2 with Sinistra.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah, so Sinistra, as time is going on, because initially, even like when the DLC dropped, I wasn't super like sold on it, and as it's gone on, I think I'm becoming more and more of a Sinistra believer, which again is another grass type added to really affect all of these like the drop in usage of all these water types, specifically water foo. That top core there, the Fluttermane Hands, Lando, it can be thrown on to almost anything. It can be thrown into balance. It can be thrown into offense. A lot of times, what you want to see there is Assault Vest on Hands, Scarf Terra Flying, Landorus, and usually booster speed on the Flutter. The Flutter speed creep war has been going on since the middle of Reg D, and these flutters are just getting faster and faster to the point where on a lot of these flutter mates, they're actually using Icy Wind instead of Dazzling Gleam or another coverage move in order to just get more of that speed control there. And it's like I had a couple friends who competed, and they used those three Pokemon on a Snow Core with those items and like sets behind them. And then we'll see it on other teams where it was more so they were more like a balancy build. They're just three great Pokemon that complement each other. To be quite honest, I think like just like Ogerpon seems super powerful, but with the amount of what's the word I'm looking for? The amount of experience we have with these Pokemon, I don't think you can argue against Hands, Flutter, and Lando being like arguably the top three Pokemon in the Scarlet and Violet metagame, as long as they're legal.
I really like this 8th place team here in the hands of Bat. And it's just
Same. I
like,
wanted to point that out.
yeah, it's a really interesting team. And I know Carl was doing something similar that he had posted earlier in the week. And it's just like screens plus Goltrez next to Sinistra. So you get hospitality. So you can just like turbocharge to boost your Berserk triggers over and over and over again. And it's a really cool idea. And I mean, obviously, Bat played this very well to be able to finish in the top 8 with it. But I saw that and I really wanted to point it out. And what's crazy to me is that's not even the only Alolan Ninetales in the top 8.
So one of the a key point I found, or just a group of other players and I found when looking at what day 2 was, and even just this top 8. Like, you do have the second place team, which is just the hardest of hard Trick Room teams, and you did see
Spam.
Yeah, you did see a few like spam hard Trick Room teams do very well. But like outside of that, the only like real like archetype, so to speak, that isn't just like generic good stuff's offense or generic good stuff's balance is snow teams. There were 4 snow teams that made day 2. 3 of them ran Alolan Ninetales Bax Caliber, which is the 5th place team there. And Bat Alexis, shout out to her, was the only one to not do the bat, like lean into the snow side, but just wanted the screens there in order to help support the Goltress. I think Alolan Ninetales is an amazing Pokemon. I think it's going to have a very, very, very solid place in this metagame. Not only just for its screens and its weather control, but it does have other really great support options as well, with Icy Wind, Encore, Disable, Helping Hand, Howl. There's a lot of really cool attacks that it has, along with just being able to spam Blizzards or Freeze Dries or Moonblasts and whatever.
Yeah, it has really good offensive coverage, and a lot of the times you're running like your double stabs, Aurora Veil, Protect, which I think adds a lot of value when you're comparing it to something like Grimmsnarl, which also sets screens. You're getting that one turn screen setup. You're losing the priority, but Ninetales has the Alola form has that extra speed over the Kanto form, which is awesome for it, and it has a really nice speed stat. Um, is it 111 that it just outspeed? It's 109, so it actually just underspeeds Ogerpon, which kind of stinks.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them run Adamant, so you get that boost there. And with the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon running around all over the place, something like Freeze Dry could be really good over Blizzard as well for that 4 times super effective damage.
True. Very, very true. So, is there we don't know what Ursaluna forms this is, right? Like looking at the second place team, I would think it's normal.
We do. I think
they're both regular
Okay.
Ursaluna. Yeah, physical.
Yeah, because
there's been a lot of hype for Blood Moon, and if you want my hot take, I don't really think Blood Moon's all that good.
It's really hard to position properly.
I think it's a mon it has the tools to be good. I don't think we figured out how it would be good. With that being said, I got an optimal Blood Moon on my first attempt last night, so at some point I'm probably going to try to use it, but until then I'm just going to be using my ice types.
My counterpoint to that is, like, if you want a special attacker under Trick Room, isn't Torkoal just the better option? Like, isn't just clicking Eruption inside of Trick Room just better than clicking, Hyper Voice or Blood Moon?
I think it depends, because there's a lot of priority. There's
which is disabled thanks to Indeedee, right? Like
in this team specifically, yes.
Yeah, granted, on this specific team. But if you look down at like the 7th place team, it has Cress over like the Indeedee hat, Armarouge stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of them run Farigiraf too for that anti-priority as well, which is also a neat pick.
you have tech to be able to beat that. And it's just like Torkoal hits so absurdly hard with essentially no investment. You can just be bulk and then just smack things, and it still just does so much damage.
I think the big thing
But
with
there's
Torkoal,
also some good counters to Torkoal, like
yeah,
Heatran is in the format,
Heat Train is
with the
very
Flash
good.
Fire.
You
Armarouge is
also
here,
you also
you
have stuff
know.
like Alolan Ninetales being able to change the weather on a dime, and
yeah,
like
Hmm.
that's what I was just
that's
about
a
to
really
say. It's
big
like,
deal because that's what makes
Rain
Torkoal
Dance
hit so hard.
Tornadus.
Yeah,
yeah,
so like
it's very
I,
weather
I understand the
reliant.
argument against it, and like looking at the matchup here for finals, I understand why like the Tornadus team came out ahead. Like looking at that matchup, it looks really bad from the Trick Room player's side.
Yeah, Golden Go plus Rillaboom, you can counteract your terrain, which is also something Rillaboom's extremely popular. So you can bring in, get your terrain, use your priority attacks into Torkoal.
You have
Um,
Rillaboom to be able to take away the terrain to then just like pressure them
yeah,
with Urshifu.
Golden
Like
Go is great spread damage. Bulky, you have Ogerpon that can just absolutely smash everything.
and like if they're
Um,
trying to do Ursaluna things, Urshifu doesn't care. It just punches you. You have Landers to be able to intimidate it down. Like Torkoal doesn't really like seeing the opposing Ogerpon on the other side. Just like thanks for the fire boost. Like
yeah, the
Yeah,
there's
so
Terrifier.
there's just so much. I'm just like, holy cow, this looks real rough.
yeah, but yeah, so I think it's like, I know, I think it was like Calm Mind, Blood Moon has like been floated around. I think Calm Mind,
Mhm.
the Calm Mind set could be better the than like, I don't think the throat spray hyper voice set's that good. Maybe like it's an assault vest set, or this calm mind set, or it's something that we haven't even thought of. But it's, if it does well, it's definitely going to be late meta.
I was gonna say, I think I've been playing around a little bit with the Calm Mindset, trying out a couple of different things with it. It's very hard to position. It's a little bit difficult to get in, um, in under Trick Room. I think that the Assault Vest set is really, really good though, because you can click Blood Moon and then Vacuum Wave to finish things off on the next turn.
Hmm.
And it creates for some really nice combos, like what can switch into this, your Terra Normal Blood Moons. Get your extra bulk on your special side because your special defense is really low, so you kind of do like Iron Hands type things with it. So like that's kind of the debate where I find myself with the Ursaluna, is like, if I'm going to use an assault vesting, slow, bulky Pokemon, am I going to prefer, Ursaluna here, or would I prefer an assault vest hands? And yeah,
Hands is
the
really good.
hands is really,
Yeah,
really good,
and
and it
it's
has a
really
great
really good.
matchup into a lot of the format right now. So
Yeah, and
it's a
that's
little hard to justify.
like having only
Sorry.
one assault vest, because then you have like, just even using something like trying to use like hands and Rillaboom on the same team, like both of them. I mean, Rillaboom now, you do have other optionality with Miracle Seed because we got Grassy Glide back, but overall it's like those are two Pokemon that want the assault vest, and you can only have one. So it's just trying to balance those, like balance out which item on which Pokemon is going to get more. You're going to get more out of.
Hmm.
That's all I have for this tournament.
Yeah, I was genuinely just getting ready to ask if there was anything else you wanted to touch on this before we jumped into the main event for the night.
Congrats to the top eight. Congrats to Reisu for winning, and Jiro for the awesome Psy Spam run. I love Psy Spam, so
It is
good to
a
see that too.
very
Good to
cool
see Psy
team.
Spam back and alive and well.
It
I
is
know.
something that I worked on a lot for Knoxville, and
I
a
brought it to
very
Knoxville.
yeah, I know you did, and I tried to talk you out of it after testing it a lot, and I'm just like, man, I am not feeling this. So instead, I brought Punch Monkey.
Yeah. So we're just going to go from the top, just go in order.
Yeah, I mean, so if this is the first time you've ever seen a tier list video, hi, welcome. There's 5 different tiers here. S is really good. D is not, and we're not going to be ranking things inside the tiers just because not everything is actually listed here. Like we talked about, we don't have all the Ogerpon actual all the Ogerpon forms, so like it's just going to be relative like to the tier itself. But I think it's very clear that like Ogerpon is by far the best thing out of the new stuff and like the returning stuff.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Like all 4 forms are viable in some capacity, and that's hard to say, right? Like, I mean, granted, what other Pokemon do we have that have that many forms? Like Urshifu has 2, and both of them, are like format staples and have been since they were introduced. But
Meowth is close.
Yeah, Meowth has a lot of forms.
you're right.
Rotom has 6.
Meowth evolutions we can count. Berserker into the mix.
But
Rotom forms is a good one.
Rotom is like the closest, right? And like, you have sad Rotom noises in the form of like Rotom fan. Like, there's some real bad Rotom forms. But like every single I've played against every single form of Ogerpon. It's just like, man, this form is really good on this team, and it's just like every time I play it against them, I'm just like, I have to have an answer to it in team building, and I think it's really it's a format staple. There's no other way to put it.
Every single form is really good. They all have something to offer. The rock form has consistent 100 base power, 100 accuracy physical rock move. Hooray, we found one.
It took us 9.5 generations.
26 years.
Teal Mask form gets Defiant and the ability to hold an item. Hearthflame form gets the attack boost when a Terra fires. The Teal Mask form also gets the speed, and then the Water Absorb is fantastic, and the special defense boost is also amazing for the Water form with the great defensive typing. They're all really good. You can slot them all onto your team depending on which form you need. They're awesome new Pokemon. They really are format staples, like you said.
So
if I had to,
quick side note, and you talking about the attack boost for the fire form made me think: do we have Prankster Mist? Is that a thing that exists?
I don't know. Pokemon Showdown would be able to tell you.
No, it does not. It does not exist currently. I'm just like, man, if only this thing had access to like if only this thing had access to like a clear amulet, so you're not just getting bodied by like intimidate spam, right? Like, I wonder how we could do that, and like it just doesn't exist, unfortunately.
I will say, if I had to break out the Ogerpon form, like force them to break them out, I think the water and fire ones would be the S tier, and then probably the rock and grass A tier. And
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the rock form is probably the one that is by far the most underexplored right now. And I think there's a really cool idea between like it and Tyranitar where it's just like completely unkillable inside of sand, and then you can do something with like Grimmsnarl to set screens and like just have it be this unkillable wall. But like then you're fairly weak to Fluttermane because you're wearing, you have multiple dark types, and that doesn't line up well. But like Tyranitar also really likes the idea of screens, so there might be something there. Maybe not specifically like Grimmsnarl, but screens plus rock Ogerpon seems really cool.
I would rank them. I'd put the fire in the S alone, and then I would put the grass and water in A, and then I'd probably put the rock in the B tier if I had to rank them. I think
that's really fair too.
Mainly because the rock form, you get the defense boost, and it's not extremely positive for you into Urshifu because it doesn't really help you take a Surging Strikes.
Yeah.
You get Sturdy, which also doesn't help you with that. And also, Rock as a defensive typing is kind of a little whatever.
Yeah.
It's it's a really nice offensive combo, but defensively, if you get something faster than you, you don't have amazing bulk. The sand stuff does help you out with that special side. The defense boost, you get it on the physical side, but there's definitely drawbacks. I think more drawbacks to the rock than any of the other forms.
That's fair.
I think if we're just sticking to S tier Pokemon, there's a couple that really come to mind for me. The first one being Weezing. I think Weezing is absolutely insane. I'm going to gush about this thing week in and week out until people start respecting it. And I feel like that's my complete bias coming through, but I genuinely do think that there is just so much in this format that Weezing just sits in front of and annoys the absolute hell out of, that people are going to have to start respecting it. I played against Ability Shield Pelipper the other day because they were just, I can't make this stuff up, man. I'm just like, I don't understand what just happened. They're like, yeah, this is an item that's been in the game forever. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is a showdown bug.
Ability Shield's making a comeback because like Ability Shield Heatran lets you prevent the fire Ogerpon Moldbreaker Ivy Cudgel. So it can't hit you. I do want to say I definitely think it's your bias coming through. I
Yeah,
love
it is.
Weezing. I
It's
think
not
it's
an S tier Pokemon.
fantastic. It's not an S tier Pokemon,
That,
but
I,
it
I
adds a
agree.
lot. It
Like,
does
I
add a
think,
lot to the format. Neutralizing gas it's shown itself in the Sword and Shield format, but in this one, I think we talked about it, touched on it last week, that it's more about Weezing supporting the team in this format than Weezing Gigas type stuff,
Yes.
enabling another strong attacker. It's like, hey, I'm going to annoy you rather than I'm gonna make my homie over here jacked out of his mind and go on a not slow start rush.
and like the number of replays I've sent you all, just like, look how stupid Weezing went this game. Like, look how bad, like, look how terrible my opponent played into it, and I'm just like bodying them by Intimidate cycling with Weezing.
I mean, I'll say this not to be like the wet blanket, like not even halfway into the pod.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick Angelo real quick. No,
But like personally, I think Ogerpon's the only S tier mon on this entire tier list.
I think that is very fair. Looking at everything else, it's really hard to say that anything is on the power level of Ogerpon, right?
And like there are some Pokemon on this list like I absolutely like personally like adore, like truly like thoroughly love, and I think some of them that are like really cool Pokemon, but like nothing's at Ogerpon's level.
I think that Blood Moon is a little debatable. It maybe isn't S tier yet. Like we said, it's it hasn't shown the results. A lot of people haven't found the correct sets for it yet, but those stats are absurd. Its move
They
pool
are
is
very good.
crazy. Its ability is fantastic.
I
It
definitely think
has
it's
all the makings for an incredibly strong Pokemon. I think it's just going to take some time for it to develop. So I'm comfortable not putting it in S tier
I think it's
yet,
definitely
but I think it's the debatable one here.
I think
my
it's
my thought
definitely
process is I definitely think it is very viable and very playable. But until I start seeing people do things that are actually good with it, it's hard to justify it being in that upper tier. And I think if you look back to like our tier list for when Ursaluna was first added for Regulation D, I think we were very high on Ursaluna for that like same reason, right? Like we wanted we thought that this was going to be a format staple next to like Cresselia. It was going to be a huge threat, and then like it just like kind of fell off because it just gets bodied by Urshifu. It gets Intimidate cycled by Landorus. Whereas Blood Moon doesn't have those problems because it's a special attacker. Granted, you still kind of
you have
get
the
bodied by
issues
Urshifu,
still.
but like the fact that you are able to threaten Fluttermane with your stabs thanks to your ability, the fact that you don't care about Landorus, the fact that like you kind of still care about Iron Hands because one, it is slower than you, and two, it hits you for super effective damage. But like Hands' weakness is its special defense. So
Well,
like
that's why it carries
punching
best
And
usually.
punching them for a really high amount of damage on the special side is a good way of dealing with them, right?
and you hit it super effectively. A lot of
That
them
is
run
true.
Terra Ghost, a lot of them run Terra Fairy to help with that fighting weakness, because you don't want to be, feeding them health on drain punches
No.
and all of that. But yeah, I think, the normal type is, it leaves a lot to be desired as a typing. But like offensively, it has really good coverage. And the fact that there's no immunities to its normal type moves, a Flutter Maiden can't switch in when it wants to. Terra Ghost Pokemon can't. I think it definitely has a ton of potential with those absolutely absurd stats that it has.
Do we want to talk about Sinistra? I feel like this is another Pokemon that I feel has a lot of potential, but I don't think this is like upper tier potential.
I
I
think
think
it's
that
I'm
A
super
tier.
high
the
on this
I think
thing.
it's A
I think
tier.
it's
I think it's
amazing.
very good.
I think
I
it's
think this
amazing. I
is
think it's so
something
good.
I'm pretty. I think it and Ursaluna are like the definitions of once someone does something good with this, I'll be impressed, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well, it had some really good
I,
performances
I was
today. I
gonna.
mean, it
It
was
just topped. It
two of
topped
the top 8
did it have
cores.
two?
two of the top
Um,
eight.
Oh
Two
yeah,
of the top eight
in the
cores,
course. I know.
and it
I was gonna
also
say
had
Alexis
Alexis's
had one in the top
team.
8, right?
Yep, and then I
So
know
like,
like Wolf ran this on his team. I think
okay,
one of the big things with Sinistra, it's something that it's the reason why Incineroar is so good. It's role consolidation. It's your grass like for your water fire grass core. It gives like if you're running like an Ursaluna, it gives you a switch in for that Ursaluna to avoid those fighting type attacks. It acts as a cleric with its ability. It has redirection with Trick Room, and it also acts as speed control. Whether as like one of your like maybe a secondary Trick Room setter or on a more offensive team, actually using Alexis's team as an example. Being able to go and just have that trick room option just to like either counteract opposing tailwind or to turn off other trick room. And I think that was like the one thing where I wasn't really seeing it um, at the start with Sinistra, but the more I've seen it on teams, I've seen like, okay, this Bond does the role of like 2 or 3 other Pokemon all in one, which allows me to pretty much have like 2 or 3 other spots on my team. Like I'm not. I know I just compared to Incineroar. It's not Incineroar, but like that's the same reason why Incineroar is good because it can do 3 Pokemon's jobs itself with a great typing. So yeah, I'm
that is really fair.
yeah. To be quite
yeah.
honest, I would actually put my money on Sinistra moving into like a potential like if we revisit this in like 2 months or so, putting Sinistra in S tier, I think that would be more likely than us putting Blood Moon there. It's a really cool Pokemon.
I can
Some
buy that. I can buy that for sure.
Something cool and another comparison with Sinistra and Incineroar too, since you brought it up, is that sometimes all you need Sinistra to do is just switch in
Mm-hmm.
and and die, just to get that hospitality healing onto your other Pokemon. I also saw a really interesting thing with Sinistra today that if you use Imposter Ditto and you copy it, you actually get the hospitality
Yep.
twice. You get to heal up 50%,
Yeah,
which
this
is
game's
kind of
broken,
funny.
folks.
But yeah,
That
I
can't
think
be intended, right? Like,
definitely not.
Not at all.
But I think Sinistra is its main weakness is probably its typing.
yeah,
Its defensive stats leave a little bit to be desired, but you can Terra Fairy, you can Terra into something else. You have like such a great but limited move pool. You have Life Dew and Strength Sap for some damage
yeah.
reduction. It just has so many options. I think it's a fantastic Pokemon, and I also wouldn't be surprised if that was the S tier and not Blood Moon.
Yeah.
But I think both are really good.
I think one of the cool things as well, Terra Water, I believe, is the most popular Terra type on it, and
I'm not surprised to hear that.
there
Yeah.
is a like stationary encounter, like those Terrajons that they have just like walking around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They have a station like a stationary Terra Water um, Poltergeist that you can.
Good to know.
Yeah, so it not only is it like a really good Pokemon, but like they give you the ability. I don't know if you can like reset it for IVs, but you don't need to use your 50 Terra Shards if you want to use this Pokemon, and you're like fine if it's not 0 speed or 0 attack.
Well, it also respawns every day, so
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
You can always just go
it's
back.
like you don't even have to reset. You can just come back later if it's not.
Good call.
Um,
You want to
It's
bang out
also
some of these?
incredible with Cresselia. You just
Yeah.
like spam healing back and forth with each other. There's just sometimes I just put them on the field together and click Life Dew and Lunar Blessing and just heal 50% every turn.
Yeah, that's called the I'm playing for timer team. Do you want to bang out some of these like clearly?
yeah, let's
bad-
bang out like the
let's
entire
get
D
rid of the
tier real
D
quick,
tiers.
and
Yeah.
like if there's things with like in this tier that we want to talk about, we can stop it then. Arbok's really bad. Sandslash is really bad. I'm pretty fine throwing Clefable down here in D.
It's in there.
It's a
Yeah.
singles Pokemon.
Yep.
Poliwrath is pretty bad. Victory Bell is a physical grass type that can be in Sun.
Yep.
It's super slow though, right? It's not that
like
fast.
base 70.
Yeah, but like just use Ogre upon fire.
Uh,
The golem, both
Yeah,
golems
it's
are
base
bad.
70.
that's not
Unfortunately,
bad.
it suffers from Gen 1, like being a Gen 1 Pokemon. So it has a base 105 attack and 100 special attack.
Yep.
It's like, it's really unfortunately not good. Both these Golem forms are really bad.
Alola Golem's fun, but we
It's
can
fun,
dream.
but it's not good. I'm gonna do something with it, but we'll get there. Furt sucks. Noctowl, Ariados. Ariados gets Sticky Web and is actually super slow. And I've played with Ariados. It's not good. It is definitely not good, but it is so funny. You get Sniper, you get Focus Energy, and you get Sucker Punch. So like,
you get a cross poison and you get
You
like a couple
do.
of those high crit moves.
We're not
like,
doing
you don't
this.
even
You're
have
you're,
to
you're
be-
going to talk yourself
Kinda
into putting
nasty.
in C tier.
Gets
Just,
rage
no,
powder.
I am 100% okay leaving it in D. I know it is bad, but holy cow, when you beat people with an Ariados, they feel bad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You are going to ruin someone's day with Ariados. Mad Cargo is pretty bad. Mighty N is pretty
Yeah.
bad. Shiftry got a lot of upgrades. Unfortunately, it's still pretty bad.
I would
Illumise-
I would debate putting it in C.
I was going to say both Shiftry and Illumise I think are C tier. Illumise, it's
It's
have
Prankster Baton Pass Tailglow, right?
no
that's Volbeat.
That's Volbeat.
We talked about this last
We
week.
did this la-
I forgot the
Yeah.
forms. Okay, I forgot which one did which.
No. Illumise, it has Prankster Tailwind. Also has like
Does it? Oh.
yeah, but no, like
I think
Illumise
it's
is
still
literally
D
just
tier. I think that one's bad.
yeah. Illumise is literally just discount like Whimsicott.
Let's see. It gets Encore.
So
it
it's
gets
super
Screens.
discount Tornadus, right?
Oh, I lied. It gets Light Screen. It does not get Reflect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not Illumise, and it's a bug type.
I said discount.
Prankster
Okay,
T-Wave.
I'm putting it in C tier.
I don't even know if it deserves to
It's
be in
I
C
think it's a C tier mod.
I think Shiftry is so much better than that.
I'm kind of leaning with Jay. This thing's really bad.
Like Shiftry gets
I-
Windrider. Bramblegast was good, but like now you get something that's super effective into Bramblegast. I think Bramblegast is really good because you get the Terra Ghost stuff into Flutter Main. But
What's
like
really cool is Shiftry can also set its own Wind
It can
Rider
set
because
its
it
own
gets access
Tailwind.
to Tailwind.
It does also have
I
fake
don't
out
think
support.
it is so incredibly bad if this is your Tailwind mod though.
it also gets Stab Sucker Punch.
Which
it,
is good, especially if you
it-
do get that Wind Rider boost, like giving you a +1 attack into +1 stab like attack into anything seems really okay.
I think it has something going for it at the very least. I don't think that you play Illumise over like Tornadus
You're
or
never playing
Murkrow or Klefki or Grimmsnarl or any other prankster mon, Sableye.
I mean,
I
okay,
would play-
on that sense, yes, but I the only thing I'm saying, like, I think like Prankster Tailwind, I think that in itself deserves it. Where I think it's better than every other Pokemon in D tier. So
I would rather play Graphite, and it doesn't even get Tailwind.
like Stop discounting.
I didn't have to go there, but I did.
So Chimeco's
Grafia
bad.
is cool.
Oh yeah, where's
Yeah,
Chimeco?
Chimeco.
Yon Mega's pretty bad.
I think
I've played
Crawdon
against.
can probably go in D tier.
yeah,
Crawdon's kind of
Crawdon's
bad.
D tier, Ambipom.
It gets adaptability Aqua Jet.
Yeah, it's not that good.
That's the
great.
best I got.
Ambipom.
Let's see.
Um,
Ambipom actually is like unironically fine.
yeah,
It
that's
gets
probably like,
technician fake out. Like it's like I would put it on like the same level as Shift Read.
Oh, okay,
it gets
so
some of those like slapping moves too, like those low base power, high number
Do you mean
roll
Fury
hits.
swipes?
Does it only get Fury swipes?
I'm
Is that
pretty
really?
sure it only gets Fury swipes.
It doesn't get
I'm
like
looking.
double slap
gets
or
double
something.
hit.
Like,
which I'm going to double hit both of
Okay.
you for saying that Ambipom's better than Illumise. You're saying that technician
It's
fake.
so
You're
much
saying
better.
that technician
gets-
fake out is better than prankster Tailwind. What
Yeah, so
planet
here's
are
the
we
thing.
on, folks?
Angelo. I fake out your Illumise and it dies.
Ambipom at least has a decent base speed. It has technician to boost its attack. Illumise has literally no good stats. It is if you want to like you're talking prankster tailwind like there is so much else you'd rather play than that. What else has technician fake out? Please tell me. Please
I need another tier.
enlighten me.
I
Are
need
you
another
making
tier.
an Illumise? I hate you. Okay, so here's what we're doing. While Carter just trolls me even more, we're going to let the people decide. So tomorrow, a little after the episode goes out, we're going to have a poll, and that poll is going to be: would you rather have Ambipom or Illumise? And we're just going to let the people decide. And the
Angelo's
people
gonna forget about this. So it's
no,
okay.
I'm not
It
going to forget
doesn't
about
matter.
this. I'm going to listen. I'm going to at least listen to the
Ambipom
podcast.
has technician stuff based off of base 100 attack. You can run like Terra. You can run the normal gem with the fake out, the technician. Then you can do
And
Terra
then last
flying,
resort them.
Terra flying acrobatics. You can do Terra flying aerial ace. You can do chilling water. Who doesn't love a good chilling water every once in a
Technician
while?
boosted chilling water.
Come on.
Angelo, you're clearly incorrect.
You have
You've never
Fury
been more
swipes.
incorrect
You
in
can
your
run.
life.
You can run
Okay,
a
so-
wide lens Fury swipes. It's just like worse mouse
It's budget
holds.
mouse hold.
You mean a
But,
Pokemon
like-
that's not that good anymore?
Actually, I think Mousehold is actually kind of good.
I mean, I
Like
don't
Rocky
know.
Helmet,
Yeah, I love
Rocky Helmet, Friend Guard, Mousehold is actually not bad.
All right,
But
what
yes,
else
I'd
is
rather
really bad
Ambipom.
down here? Can I throw Probo Pass down here? It's not doing anything,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you
Um,
can probably throw Gliscor.
I can throw
Yeah.
Mamoswine down here.
Absolutely not. You are not doing that. I am putting my foot down. You can throw
You can
Glass
definitely put Dusknoir.
Yeah, Dustnor.
That's pretty bad.
Leaveney, Swanna.
Leaveney sucks. Swanna sucks.
Charjabug.
No,
It-
it has
I will
battery.
say that Charger Bug is
Okay,
on pace with
ba- it-
Ambipom.
battery's enough. I agree.
Battery is
If
better
we're-
than
if we're
anything
allowing the other
Eloise is
ones.
doing.
I can't believe this is the hill I'm about to die on.
I agree.
I can't believe this is the hill I'm
Um,
going to die on.
Cramoran can go
Cramorant's
down here.
bad.
More Pico can
I
go
will
down
die
here.
on the Cramoran hill. No, I won't. I'm just kidding. I do love Cram though. That's the homie.
All right, I think everything else we actually have like
Can talk about.
justification to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandslash might be
Oh, yeah, like,
debatable, but
I mean, here's... I
It's on
think,
pace with Charger Bug.
Yeah, I'd say it would be C tier. It's your second fastest Slush Rusher behind the Titan. The times 4 fighting weakness sucks. But having Steel Stab and the ability to double your speed in like into Flutter Mane, that's cool.
And you just Terra Fire,
Yeah,
and now
that's
you're no longer
true.
4 times weak,
yeah.
and you're immune to burn.
No, it's definitely better than when I tried using it in Sword and Shield. Like I definitely better.
It
I
was
mean, it's
really
one,
bad then.
it was
I've tried it in every generation because I wanted it to be good, and it's just not ever been good.
yeah.
I love how far we're stretching to justify some of these Pokemon today.
Look, man,
It's good
this is
vibes.
called content farming. Jay, you need to understand that this is your life now.
And did you not hear me just vehemently defend Ambipom for
Yeah,
5
exactly.
minutes?
That is your point. That is your point. I am right, and the people will let you know.
You have never been more
No,
incorrect in your
listen,
life.
I think
Ambipom definitely over Illumise.
yeah, I'm
Sorry,
actually I'm gonna post
Every
it.
I'm
day.
sorry. I love the idea of normal gem fake out into Terraflying acrobatic stuff.
Let's talk about Clefairy.
Clefairy's fine.
I think it's like B tier. Frengard is good. It's
Redirection's good. It's bulky enough to live every hit.
Yeah,
yeah.
its kit's
I
still
was
great.
using it. The set I was running was unfortunately not bulky enough to live a Terra Water, Mystic Water, Surging Strikes,
It
but
wasn't the
it
set I sent
can.
you, is it?
Oh, yes, it was.
Oh, well, that's really unfortunate, Jay.
Yeah, that was it was pretty rough.
I don't think
But
I count against Terra.
yeah, it was you can survive it, I think, but I think the thing with Clefairy is kind of the issue with a lot of the not fully evolved Pokemon, and that's that they don't really do much else besides their support stuff. And Taunt is pretty popular in the format. It's pretty easy to shut down, and if you're just the only thing you're providing is I'm gonna click follow me or I'm gonna click icy wind and do no damage and kind of just die is it's not amazing, but it has value.
Yeah, like again, like the support kit's great, but it literally just does not have enough stats, and especially now it's entering a meta where we have Ogerpon, which has a ton of stats, all of these home transfer mons, the Paradox mons, like it's a lot of really powerful Pokemon that even with the Eviolite, it can just break through. And the other thing that really sucks is that knockoff just got reintroduced, and you have a few Pokemon like Ogerpon can use knockoff, and there have been Ogerpons that have been like Ogerpons that's running it. Roaring Moon got a massive boost by getting knockoff to give it like legitimately good like dark stab. And the second you lose your Eviolite, you just
You
don't
might as
have
well
it.
just yeah.
Yeah,
You no longer exist. You click follow me one more time, and then like your partner also takes a hit.
Yep.
and that's another big drawback for Clefairy is that
Mm-hmm.
other redirectors get to use items.
Yep.
Clefairy is forced to use that Eviolite,
Yep.
and that kind of
Yeah.
stinks.
Moving on to
Oh,
Alola Tales, seeing that we are like putting Ogerpon in its own tier and like making like
I think
top
Alola
tests.
Tail's on like par with
I think it's S
We-
tier.
I would say A tier.
I think it's on more on par with Sinistra and Blood Moon than it is with the Weezings. It's one of the like out of like the clear cut archetypes we have in this format right now. It's behind it. The screens are amazing. Just using the tours for today, 5 of the top 32 teams, including 2 of the top 8, were using Alola Tails. There wasn't a single Weezing that caught, maybe one. It's better than like
it's because people haven't adapted to playing Wheezing yet.
I think it's better than Blood Moon, and it's better than and it's
I actually
probably
agree.
better than Sinistra.
I think
It's-
Alola Tails is really good.
It's amazing. It's what this generation has done for ice types will never be forgotten. And I already said
I'm so glad they got rid of the chip. Like I just
that's
I
the
don't think
one
the
thing
chip
I
from
wish.
Hail-
That's the one thing I wish they kept because Sands gets the boost and the chip. I digress.
Yeah, but like
Can't-
Sand is good. But like you actually that's not even true.
No,
Sand
it's
hasn't
not.
done anything all
Yeah, Sand is
generation.
Yeah,
really
it's like
bad.
right. I mean, unless there were like some Tornadus like running counter weather stuff, like the only weather that we've seen so far is snow from Alola Ninetales. So yeah, it's like this is a really good Pokemon. I'm really excited to actually legitimately use it on a good team and not on a crappy meme team because I'm just trying to force my favorites.
Speaking of crappy weather setters, Ninetales pretty bad.
It's B tier.
I think it's probably on par with Clefairy.
Yeah.
I think I feel safe about this.
I think with Cantonian Ninetales, like it has some of like the great like it shares like it still has like Howl and everything. Um, I think I think it works better on your more hyper offensive Sun teams
Mm-hmm.
because like when you slap a Torkoal onto a team, you're kind of like, okay, I got to do Trick Room because if I
But,
don't,
like,
it literally
counterpoint.
does nothing.
Would you rather have Ninetales or Tornadus?
Oh, Torn, absolutely. Um, yeah, like I'd say like manual Sun is probably better. I'd say manual Weather is probably better on any single team besides Snow. Well, and Sand, but Sand isn't that great anyway. What's nice with the Ninetales is that it has more immediate like speed and offensive pressure. You don't have to have the trick room compared it to Torkoal. You don't have to have the trick room in the back. And honestly, like this is kind of a thing that goes into its favor. It's frailer, which means it goes down quicker, which means you can get one of your Sun Sweepers in easier. You don't have to like play, okay, is my overheat going to hit so I can eject pack myself out. And also like rely, and of course you could still have that as an option, but I don't know. It fits. It makes Sun teams, I think, or at least the idea of like building Sun teams more dynamic because you can go in a different direction than the Torkoal Sun route.
The other good thing with Ninetales too is that it's faster than Urshifu, and it has Will-O-Wisp
And Solar Beam.
and Solar Beam, so you can do like Terra Grass stuff. Um, I think, like you said, it's much better on the faster paced, Sun teams, but we're also really missing like that good
We're
grass
missing a
type
good
chlorophyll
chlorophyll.
user.
Yeah.
We're missing Venusaur. Like we're really
Yeah.
missing Venusaur.
We need another
Um,
like Sun Sweeper ability that's not like we need chlorophyll that's not only for grass types.
yeah, like we have solar power, but like that speed boost is so impactful, and
Speed is,
yeah, it's
it's
the name of the
literally
game.
the most important stat, right? Like, if you can
But
outspeed things, you can KO things. And
Well, I think
if you're getting outsped, you're taking a hit 100% of the time.
Well, I think what you're saying with that, I mean, it's not exactly that, but having the Sun to set up your photosynthesis boost for something like Roaring Moon,
That also
which is on the rise, setting up
pretty
Flutter
important
Mane.
too. Yeah.
I think
yeah,
like that's more so where you're seeing it, specifically with those two Sun Sweepers. One of the tough thing, like trying to use both Moon and Flutter on the same team, is that at this point both Pokemon actually really want that booster energy, and it's like, well, Flutter you can kind of get away without using it. You could still like the spec set's still really good. Like people have used Lorb or Pixie Plate, so like it has other options where if you're using Moon, you need that photosynthesis boost. If you're running this more like hyper offense, like fast go Sun team with Ninetales, you don't have to play the who gets the booster game because you're just going to set it up like the way it was intended and not with the item.
You want to talk about Diplin?
I think it's. I honestly
that should
think
be in D tier.
It's a D tier mon.
I think we missed one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we tried.
I think the ability was. I thought the ability was really cool, and then we found out that it's coded like Intrepid Sword, where it goes off once and never again.
I feel like we talked about that, but I feel like I also am just now figuring that out.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last
Okay.
week, I think.
Yeah.
So
the
Loyal 3.
I think Okidogi's A.
I think this thing's really good, especially next to Lola
I
Tails.
think it's okay.
I think that Weezing should probably be in B, and I think that Tails and Okidogi should be in A.
I think
personally.
I think Tails stays in A. Okidogi stays in B. I mean, yes. Tails stays in S. Okidogi stays.
I like this.
In A. Yeah, that's fine. I think Okidogi's really cool. Carl called it first, where I was like, oh, all three of these look like they're bad, and he's like, no, Okidogi like looks good.
Joe played it today, right?
Yeah, Joe played it today twice. And then I actually saw in the Mickey Mouse no the Mickey Mouse-a-thon tour that Zarda is doing. That's Lily of the Valley. He's also like Joe's also using the same exact Okidogi there, and I also believe that there are a couple Alola Tales Okidogi teams that are currently, or at least as like before we started recording, I saw like that we're doing really well. Um, Bulk Up plus Guard Dog is really great. A cool thing with Guard Dog is that you can't get phased out, so you can't use Roar or Dragon Tail or anything to like get you out to reset your boosts. So as niche of like a side thing as that is, I still think it's cool for a Pokemon that wants to get a couple bulk ups in.
I think Okidogi is really cool. I definitely think it relies a lot on Terra. Um, its matchups into a lot of the top Pokemon like Landorus, um, like Cresselia, for example, like Fluttermane. It's not amazing. It's poison fighting typing. It has its fair share of weaknesses, but it has some really solid stats. I also think it struggles sometimes with comparisons with Iron Hands as another bulky fighting type. Both are weak to ground. Um, Iron Hands has a lot of benefits for it, like Fake Out. I definitely think Okidogi has a lot of potential and has its place, but I know I'm not as high in it as some other people are. So yeah.
I think the way to put it, like I think the bulk up Okidogi is better than the Sword Stance Iron Hands, especially again like with the guard dog ability, getting the +1 when you're intimidated instead of going -1 is really big. You can't intimidate cycle in front of it, but I also think that AV Hands is better than AV Okidogi, and AV Hands is probably better than the bulk up Okidogi.
Interesting. See, I haven't played with this at all. I've played against it a couple different times, and every time I have, like, it's done work, but I don't think I've lost to it yet. So like,
It's got like a lot of it has like a very vast move set. It has a lot of different
mm-hmm.
types of moves. I think it's unfortunate that Gunk Shot is like your strongest stab move because it's
Can we
so
get a good
inconsistent.
poison move, please? Can we
Yeah,
get a good
It's so
poison
stab
jab,
move?
inconsistent.
poison jab.
Yeah, but then you're losing 40 base power. Like it's a big difference,
It is.
And yeah, it's just when I'm looking at team building, if I'm looking for, a fighting type who's also weak to ground types, I would probably move more towards Iron Hands, and I think that's where, Okidogi's going to struggle in this format, and it might not have the same amount of results as maybe it might deserve because it's competing a lot of the time with Iron Hands for that slot. So
Yeah.
I do agree with that. All right, who wants to talk about the monkey?
I do. I'm making a team with it
Oh
right
god.
now. It is
I tried.
so
I
interesting, okay? So
I like it.
it's
So I played a little bit with it. The team I played it on was very, very bad, but it's not because of the monkey.
my team is very suspect at the moment, and I'm basically just like in my head making an idea. I think that it's like not gonna be good in tournament play. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun on the ladder. It's a really cool like open team sheet. I mean closed team sheet thing with toxic chain stuff. I think it's really good as like a choice scarfer, and you just like spam sludge bombs and sludge waves. My idea is sticking it next to extremely bulky, annoying stall Pokemon like Garganacl and Corviknight, and just spamming Sludge Wave, uh, and Roost and Recover. I, I I don't think that it's gonna be anything super impactful, and probably deserves to be like B tier, around the same as
I think
Clefairy
I think
and
it's C tier. I think that
It
Clefairy.
has base 130 special attack
Just-
and like
I'm going
100
with Jay on
and
this one.
does nothing for me.
something speed. Its speed is
Angelo,
fantastic too.
you haven't been clapped enough by Monkey Dory fake
106
outs.
speed, 130 special attack. It has fake out. It has parting shot. It has nasty plot, baton
What-
pass,
Yeah, but then it
What
just
and
gets
it, and it
clapped
can
by a
tonight-
shadow
one
ball.
shot
It
Urshifu.
just gets clapped by a shadow ball.
What I've learned tonight is Angelo hasn't been clapped by fake out enough. He disrespects the monkey. He disrespects the other monkey. What is your problem with this?
Apparently, I don't like monkeys.
You don't
not
like
my favorite
monkeys
animal.
with fake out.
I love
Oh.
lemurs. Apparently, I don't like monkeys.
Poor Annihilate, man. Angelo hated him so much that he just died and became Annihilate.
Okay, I liked that one. Like
All he
Primate,
wanted to do was show you love, and instead you killed him.
Primate
Like,
and
I-
Annihilate are favorites of mine, actually. So, not.
My headcanon is that Primate got so sad because you wouldn't love him, he died.
This is why I took PTO my second week on the job.
Alright, who
But-
wants to talk about the stupid bird?
I will. I think Pheasantipity. I also think it's a C tier mon.
I think this one's really bad.
I think that one's C tier, yeah.
It's hilarious. Being able to just spam like icy, like it does have a good kit. You get Tailwind, and you have all these spread moves, and you're able to do the spread moves with the and be bulky with these spread moves, and just keep on trying for like those poison chances, and it's really really hilarious. It's like Pheasantipity is a great, and I think to a lesser extent Monkey Dory, they're great content Pokemon. You're going to see like I think Moxie had his like Pheasantipity video, and like you're going to have like all these like YouTube content creators like, oh look at this, like you got like a Pokesports video or something like that, where it's just people trying to get clicks with this really dumb bird, and it's going to look great in like the curated like ladder videos, and then you're going to actually like go and play in a tournament with this, and you're going to go like 3-5.
Oh yeah, this is not a tournament mon.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the stats. It has no offensive stats. The 125 special defense lets you like eat Flutter main hits, but
Yeah,
that's about all you got going for you.
yeah, it's just, and the worst thing is I'm talking about all these like spread moves. You're using those spread moves like a base 71 special attack, and it has a base 90 physical attack that you will just never use.
Unless you're doing technician dual wing beat stuff.
Yeah,
But it's not even the best technician mon in that tier.
Shout out Ambipom, let's go, base 100.
we're moving on to Snorlax now.
Snorlax is at least B tier.
I think Snorlax is
Yeah.
B tier.
Yeah.
I don't think it's great, but I definitely think it's better than everything in C tier. So
It'll play on all the Indeedee teams with the belly drum stuff. I've
That is
seen
true.
like Thick Fat as like a Chi-Yu counter as well. It
Mhm.
gets high horsepower. It gets some really good moves. Assault Vest is still fine.
Yeah, so
I was when I was playing it, I was doing thick fat things.
yeah.
If the loyal 3 become popular, like toxic chain is something you need to worry about, then you can do like immunity things. But man, there's so much better things you can do than running immunity Snorlax, right? Like if those are
Yeah.
the matchups you're trying to improve, changing that ability is not what you need to do to improve those matchups.
The Gluttony and Thick Fat sets are fine though. I think they're both pretty solid.
I do like Gluttony as well.
I think Wolf ran Thick Fat on his in the trainer school tour. He came top 16. It was like Clef, like he had like Sinistra, Clef.
I thought his was
Snorlax.
Belly Drum.
He did have belly drum. It was
Was
belly
Belly
drum.
Drum
Citrus.
Thick Fat?
Yeah, belly
Wow.
drum Thick Fat with citrus. Because he had I believe he
The
had Life Dew.
Sinistra.
I believe he had Life Dew, Clefairy, and Sinistra. So
Yeah.
because he also
was-
had Komao, which we will get to, which I do think is a pretty good mon as well, who has a setup move that does damage to itself. And
Yeah.
it had
It was
like,
very
these-
based on 2 attackers.
Yes. It was definitely a team that only Wolf Glick could pilot and do well.
That tracks.
I also think Politoed is in that B tier as well.
I agree with that.
I
Yeah.
think this is the first generation with both Politoed and Pelipper
And
having.
Pelipper, and neither of them are good.
Well, I was going to say it's the first one where I think, because in Gen 7 and Gen 8, even though Pelipper had Drizzle, like Politoed was still clearly, when available, the better Drizzle user. And I think now this is like the first time where you can say like Pelipper might actually be the preferred rain setter on teams. I actually do think there was a team in one of these online tours that was a hard rain team that did like that made day 2, and it was like Pelipper rain, not Politoed rain.
Politoed has some unique tools going for it. It's I would say it's niche, so probably around B tier is like pretty fair
Yeah.
for it.
And
It lost Scald, and that is like
losing Scald
it's,
is
Yeah.
it's the bullet to the knee that it did not need.
Yep.
You run chilling water.
It doesn't have
It probably
technician
gets
Jay.
Trailblaze too.
Ludicolo probably gets Trailblaze.
I
Yeah.
know for a fact Ludicolo does, so that means it's on par with Ursaluna, right?
Absolutely. It does a little dance too in battles, so obviously it's on par with Ogerpon.
You know what? I actually think it needs a tier of its own.
We're not. Can I resign?
It probably belongs in C tier.
Yeah, it's a C tier mon.
Yeah.
There's better Swift swimmers. And Rain as an archetype is a little on the down right now. So
Yeah, I mean, we literally just started this episode off by Carter saying, "Oh, Politoed, Ludicolo." I'm like, why would you use Ludicolo if you have Basculegion? And that just
and I mean,
there.
that's it, right? Like, Basculegion exists. Urshifu exists.
exists.
Those are two much better rain sweepers than Ludicolo. Milo's cool.
Milo's good. I like Milo.
I don't know where to rank it. I don't know if it's like A or
So,
B.
I would put it around
really
A
weird,
personally.
right? Like, I just threw it in A just so I could think for half a second. I think Milo is very good. I think it will continue to be very good. It is one of the few Pokemon that has access to Scald, which obviously is insane for it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that like it gets to punish all the Intimidate cycling going on is obviously very good. And that's not even the reason you're playing it, right? Like, that is just like upside. It's not the reason you play it. The fact that it is just a absurdly bulky water type that gets to punish your opponent's physical attackers with Scald, while also having additional recovery in the form of Recover, and having like all this additional upside is why you play Milo. There are just so many factors that make it good that it is just I would say it is a total package of a Pokemon, which I think is pretty hard to say in the current format.
Actually, do you mind just like throwing like Empoleon? Because I think like when we're talking about this, the main thing you're looking at with Milotic and Empoleon, who got a massive buff by having its hidden ability switch from Defiant to competitive, is that you're looking. Both of them kind of fill similar roles. They're both special attacking water types that are intimidate deterrents. They join Iron Bundle as the only like real like water like special water type attacker. We have Urshifu, of course, and then the Water Ogerpon has joined Urshifu as like the two like premier water types in general. But if you want special damage from your water type, I think you're looking at one of Bundle, Milotic, or Empoleon.
Bundle, Milo, Empoleon, and then Gastro, which
Gastro doesn't even carry water coverage.
Is not that great. Yeah,
I mean, it's just a water type, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not meant to. You might see it run Muddy Water from time to time, but overall, it's not like something it carries anymore.
I don't think I don't think Gastro. I think Gastro lost Muddy
Ice
Water.
Beam.
Did it?
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure.
I don't buy that.
I don't think so. But it just
looking.
normally runs Ice Beam and Earth
I could
Power.
be wrong. Apparently, it's not the first time I've been wrong in this podcast. Sure,
there's a lot you said tonight that's been wrong.
My thing with the argument when looking between like Milo and Empoleon is one, Milo gets scald and Empoleon doesn't. You're forced to run Hydro Pump with it. But also two, you're using these
Empoleon,
Pokemon to beat Pokemon like Landorus, and
yeah,
Empoleon
the fact that
doesn't like taking a
Empoleon is
stopping
weak to
Yeah.
tantrum.
Landorus is a big big
Yeah.
Um,
deal to it. I do think that
I
it
think it's
is
a B
like
tier.
I think
Empoleon.
they're on
I,
par with each other personally. Empoleon has had a couple good results recently. It's uh it has slightly worse special defense, but slightly better special attack, so it's the slightly more offensive option. Um, I ran it with like an assault vest, and I thought that was kind of fun, just making it especially bulky. But I've seen a couple other sets running around. I
I
think Milo, you're a little bit more pigeonholed into, Scald, Icy Wind, Recover,
mm,
Protect, +1, and it also is it takes a little bit longer, it feels like, because you're investing so much in bulk rather than its offenses.
I think the other thing that's really cool with Empoleon is that it does help a lot with Fluttermane. Like Water Steel is a good typing specifically for that Pokemon. I do believe I saw something where it's like a +2 Flash Cannon from Empoleon. I don't think it. I'm not sure if it KOs like it's a 100% like KO on Flutter, where if they're maxed out bulk special attack, you're still picking it up. But a lot of Flutter mains don't run more than 4 EVs in special defense, anyways. So I think on like most of these standard Fluttered sets, that +2 Flash Cannon is picking up the one shot on Flutter,
I
and
wonder
that's really big.
I wonder if +1 Steel Beam's enough to KO then.
But what?
Like, I mean, unironically, like if +2 Flash Cannon's enough, +1 Steel Beam might.
What are you?
Yeah, but like, where are you getting +1 ever?
Yeah, and why? Yeah,
Snarl spam,
are you
I
are you
guess.
Oh
playing?
yeah, duh, I'm dumb.
Yep,
I'm over
Yeah,
here
it's not
trying to.
Defiant anymore, silly
it's
goose.
That was what I was doing is Defiant boost, as you know, you go down 1 and then +2. So
no, you're getting the
Yeah.
you're getting the full 2.
Empoleon's biggest drawback, though, is that it's weak to the thing that it's trying to beat, which I think
mhm.
also, goes a little bit with Okidogi, is that they both are there as intimidate deterrents. Your number one intimidator is Landorus. It's really the only one running around aside from like Hisui and Arcanine.
There was a few Gyarados
And
running around.
Landorus is, yeah, but it's normally, Landorus. It's
Yeah.
Landorus on so many, like 30%, 40% of the teams. And both of those Pokemon have these abilities to beat Intimidate, but also struggle to beat one of the strongest Intimidators without Terra. So it's a little limiting in that sense. But I did see a weird, like, Marvel scale Milo set the other day. It was Rest, Sleep Talk, Dragon Tail, so that you could you could just keep doing not negative priority Dragon Tails to bring stuff out into hazards.
Well, as we discussed earlier, you cannot do that into an opposing Okidogi with that guard dog ability. So
Yep, you can't do that.
can't
But
phase it out.
yeah, that A+1 has some wild teams out there for rentals on Twitter.
Mm.
I've never seen some such crazy teams.
I think
So
We
for
could
those
talk
who are curious, Steel Beam at neutral is a KO into bulky Flutter Mane.
nice.
And you only have to be like modest.
Terra Normal Blood Moon is also a KO into bulky Fluttermane.
I mean
Yeah,
that
but
makes
that's not
sense.
running Steel Beam. I didn't say it was good. Leave me alone. Shut up and go to the next Pokemon.
He's on
you're
my shirt.
yeah
I
no
have him on my shirt.
yep Jay, this is all you then. Jay, talk about Dusclops.
While you do that, I'm gonna put him down
It's
here.
it he's not very good right now,
All
but
right, cool. Moving on.
Dusclops has a lot of tools, so do whatever you will. And he's on my shirt, and that's cool. Torterra is the homie. I love Torterra.
Torterra is so freaking cool. I'm so glad they gave him something finally.
They gave him 2
The fact that it
Shell
finally gets Shell Smash is
Smash.
so cool.
and Grassy Glide.
Mm-hmm.
I think I knew that.
I think you brought it up last week. I listened to
I
it in
don't know,
between just
man.
getting
That was
just
last
rattled.
week.
It's still not very good and probably belongs in D tier, but I'm not gonna stand for it, and you're gonna put it in C tier and be happy with it.
I could argue like C
You're gonna put it
tier,
in
like
B
it does
tier?
things.
I don't think so.
It is not
just
B tier, not even close. It is 1000% C tier.
you get like shell armor into Urshifu, but you also just die to Chien-Pao, so.
Unless you Terra Steel.
Don't make us change
And
it to
then
D
you just
tier.
get caught by. Then they click Icicle Crash plus Close Combat. Have fun.
But it's redirected into my Clefairy.
Who dies to the Terra Water Mystic Water Surfing Strikes.
Look, I'm trying, Jay, okay? You have to work with me a little bit here.
It has Shell Smash, and that is about as much as we can say for Pheasantipity, who has Toxic Chain, Dazzling Gleam stuff.
I legitimately am now thinking of like putting it in D tier.
I
want it to be.
It is better than
Terra Water is the right option on it, and yeah, Shell Smash is good.
Yeah.
The Grassy Glide stuff is good. It gets Shell Armor, which is a decent ability. It's fine.
It's better than Illumise.
Yeah, I agree.
And like that's
okay.
That's
I might give you that as better than Illumise. Like the Avipom Slander. I might put. Let's move on.
I'm so excited Torterra is back because when I first started playing competitive Pokemon, my one thing is I wanted to make Choice Band Woodhammer Torterra work, and I would play OU and just absolutely just nuke people with it, and it was awesome. And yeah, I'm gonna definitely be using it at some point soon, even though it's probably not great.
Again, great content Pokemon, not great for anything else. And what does Infernape do other than be a fake out user?
It gets knockoff.
It does. Okay.
And it gets close combat, and
it also now has access to Calm Mind. And Aura Sphere, which is actually really good, so you don't have to rely on Focus Blast for stab.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that it got Calm Mind and Aura Sphere.
It's always had Nasty Plot.
I knew that.
But yeah, oh good lord, Infernape. If I could type. Honestly, you can run it however you want. I mean, both its attack and special attack are 104. 108 speed is like. Yeah, fine. Unfortunately, you do underspeed Ogerpon, but I mean, you also hit Ogerpon.
I know it gets U-turn. I think it's just great content Pokemon. If you're using it in a tournament, you're going to be at the lower tables.
All right. So, which one of you is recording with Infernape this week then?
We'll run a Sinnoh starter team. It'll be great.
Yeah,
I want the good one.
You're going to get Torterra. You just stand for it. I get Napoleon. Jay.
It's Jay's favorite Pokemon.
It is. Hold on, I have him right over here.
All right, if need be, I will take the bullet and play with Infernape, but someone has to build the team because
that's fair.
Wait, I'm gonna build a team with all three of them. It's gonna be great.
Awesome.
Actually, unironically, that sounds kind of hot.
They do cover each other's weaknesses, like, not terribly. So.
All right, so Jay has a project for this week.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll get to work. Ro, while I do that, you can talk about your baby.
I love this Pokemon so much. It's great. No, it's
so bad though.
It's so bad. So it's I think it's B. Honestly, I was even thinking like maybe C tier, but yeah, I think B tier is good. It's got a really great attack stat. The typing.
Unironically, I think this 6 sucks.
I think it's I'm sorry.
I think it is not D tier.
It's really close to unplayable.
It has no defensive stats whatsoever.
You can't do anything to.
You can't Dynamax away from that Grassy Glide anymore.
No, but you can Terra out of it, and I think that bottom line is,
and then still take 1,000,000,000%.
So how's that Moonblast taste?
So talking about
how bad its defenses were.
Oh no, they're not good. It is 100%
Its speed is terrible too. It's just Its typing is
No,
not very
the
great
offensive typing,
either.
the offensive typing's amazing, and here's so a lot of the Bax calibers were running ground, like they were running like Terra Ground, Terra Blast, or Terra Ground Earthquake to get that ground typing to go with the ice, and like you just get that with Mamoswine. When you look at like the top 10 Pokemon that are being used, like Lando goes down to an ice shard, Torn's going down to the ice coverage. You're able to threaten hands with your ground coverage. Like it has great offensive coverage into a lot of good Pokemon. And that's always been like the benefit of Mamoswine. It's just that it's a mon that wants like three different items to do everything because of the fact that its stats do really hinder it. You don't have
Yeah, you need Choice Band and Life Orb to do any kind of damage.
And Choice Scarf to
I was going
outspeed
to say
stuff.
you want
With a Focus Sash.
I was going to say yeah you want a life orb, a scarf,
and
and a
clicking Ice
sash.
Shard.
It's
so you can outspeed.
I'll say this
it's
on this list of C tier Pokemon, I think it's the best one.
That
It's not saying much though.
Oh, I strongly disagree.
Which
I would
Pokemon
still
in
play
C-
MV Palm over it.
We're having a fight.
I don't think I'd play Ambipom, but
I wouldn't either. But
I'd probably
I would...
play Pheasantipity, Dusclops, Torterra.
Torterra
before
and
I played
Infernape. I
Mamo.
think I would play before.
So I'll say with like at least Pheasantipity has like some sort of like weird role, and I think like one of the issues with a lot of these C tier Pokemon, it's like great content mon, super overclassed by a lot of other mons, and even then it's like Mamoswine's completely outclassed by Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur does everything Mamoswine does with better stats and a better ability, and that's like
How awesome is it that like Baxcalibur gets Scale Shot now?
That's
So awesome that it got banned to Ubers.
It did. But in general,
so
I think
funny.
like just the offensive coverage alone on Mamoswine on that 130 base like attack stat is good enough for it to at least be C tier.
Conkeldurr is probably like B tier.
I think that's C as well.
I
think
I'd play it over
Infernape.
Yeah, I play it over
like
Infernape.
Guts.
But like the thing is, if you're running a slow
Mach
Guts
Punch.
Pokemon, if you're playing a slow Guts Pokemon, you're using Ursaluna.
But it beats
I mean,
Ursaluna.
this
That's the
threatens
only
Ursaluna.
thing.
Yeah.
Until it Terra
And it has
Ghosts.
Mach Punch. It has Knockoff. It has,
The problem with Conk is you just died a Fluttermane.
Yeah, it's a fighting type, and that stinks.
I think the issue with Conk, again, the typing, like being a fighting type in the Flutter meta, and it's just, again, it's like
I think he's right, Jay.
Wait, does it get Bullet Punch though?
It can't be enough to KO though, right?
Into Fluttermane?
I think
it doesn't get Bullet Punch.
Yeah, I think it's
worry.
Machamp.
Machamp
who gets Bullet Punch.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. C tier.
We
that's
tried.
Fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
I'm not sure where I would put so Chandelure, you get the Trick Room, you have the Flash Fire, which is really cool. Being a ghost type's always like fun, even though you can go down to a Fluttermane Shadow Ball. With that being said, it's like if you want a ghost, you use Fluttermane. If you want a fire type, we have Fire Oogapon.
You use Heatran.
We have Heatran. We have Suing Arcanine. So I think in that sense, it's like it has a lot of really cool roles, and then there's a bunch of Pokemon who are better at those specific roles than Chandelure. So again, I think it's another C tier mon.
There's also better Pokemon who fill in prison trick room roles like Farigiraf.
Farigiraf significantly better. Even like Indeedee can do it.
I think you all are forgetting how hard Chandelure hits.
Yeah, but it's
like
it's
you put it next to like Heatran, it does like the same thing as Heatran.
Yeah.
I guess the only benefit you have here is that you're not neutral to the Ivy Cudgel from the Mold Breaker Ogerpon, but
you're so frail.
It's the ghost typing is in a weird position in this format with Fluttermane just being everywhere. You're weak to Urshifu, both forms. You're weak to Chi and Pao. I think I just you compare it with Heatran, which has a lot of the same benefits. It doesn't have the Trick Room stuff that this gets, which I guess is where its benefit really comes from, is that it gets like a better supportive move pool. Um, but I don't know. It's just
It doesn't have the bulk to really
it's
take advantage of that supportive move pool,
a
though.
weird position for it in the meta at the moment. I
I
think
think-
Chandelure,
like
I just it just screams singles mon to me.
Yeah.
It just unfortunately is not.
yeah.
I just don't think this is the format for it, which sucks because I think it is really good, but like
Yeah,
historically, it's been good. I don't think this.
It's been good
its
This
lower
roles
ain't
are
power
just
levels.
felt better elsewhere.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is it anymore.
Yeah, it's been good in like lower power level formats. Again,
Which like
same with Conkeldurr. Both Chandelure and Conkeldurr were like early meta.
dude, if they were legal in Reg A,
Yeah, these are like
they would have
Reg
been
A,
like
Yeah,
format
they'd be
staples, right?
nuts.
Like,
Yeah.
but as soon as Fluttermane came around, both of them just like fall off the side of a cliff, and then you introduce Urshifu, and now like one is weak to it, and the other one is just outclassed by it.
Well, I think it's the same thing as like when back in Sword and Shield, like series like 1, 2, 3, like these were two really, really good Pokemon. And then once we got like, and even like when Incineroar was back, Conkeldurr was still like pretty decent. It was when Isle of Armor came out and Crown Tundra when we reintroduced all of these really like the usual suspects of really strong Pokemon, plus added Urshifu, they just fell off. And I think again moving to the next mon, Mienshao falls into the same exact thing. Like it's a fake out user that can't be faked out. I believe it's the fastest fake out user that we have. If it's not like the fastest, it's one of the fastest. Not being able to be intimidated is super cool as well, but it's just so frail. And outside of fake out and like hitting your high jump kicks, what does this thing do?
It's also slower than Ambipom.
Just had to go there.
There's no counterpoint.
You said it was one of it's the fastest fake out Pokemon. It's not. I think it's also slower than
like I couldn't
Monkey
remember.
Dory.
Okay,
yeah, it's slower than Monkey Dory
yeah.
too.
It's,
But yeah,
it's
just it's one another one that just doesn't have the stats.
Which it's weird to think that, back in Series 11, Mienshao was kind of like a format staple, right? And
it was
like,
good on that
something...
Caloric Shadow team.
Yeah, because of the
and,
wide
like,
guard.
Now it's just like it's really weird. It fits into like the Umbreon theorem that we talked about last week, where the higher the format power level, the more likely it is to be played. And unfortunately, I don't think that's the case anymore for Mienshao. I just think that there's too many good fairy types running around that like the bar you need to have to be a powerful fighting type is so high that it's literally Urshifu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
yeah,
and
much.
Iron Hands.
Yeah, like you have
and
to have you have to provide
to some type of to an extent as well.
You have
Okidogi,
to
it's
provide
like is neutral into the fairy.
The amount of viability that it needs is just like non-existent in the current format, and I don't think it's gonna I don't think it's gonna happen, unfortunately, this generation.
Maybe when we get to the restricted formats, when you have like all of these insanely powerful spread moves and you're just looking for another wide guard user that can do like some
fake
other
out wide
things.
Guard is really good,
like that, and that's the role it was running in like those Sword and Shield series where it was used, but we also have to make sure that like that's good for when it is. I'm not to like speed things along, but like I think like every
Volibee
remaining
through Rabombi.
I was going to say through Rabombi, I think all of these Pokemon are just C tier.
Yeah.
I think they're like Mandibuzz is an interesting support mon, slow Tailwind, but it has All My Friends Are Dead syndrome. Rabombi
I think
does the speed swap thing.
Vikavolt I think Vikavolt's another mon that's like really good for content. I think it's a mon that like a lot of people are really excited to have back. But in reality it just doesn't do enough.
It has a really good offensive stat, but its defensive stats are kind of whatever. Mandibuzz, I think, is also kind of lacking because Amoonguss isn't extremely popular right now, so its
It's
overcoat
it's
thing
it's
doesn't
really
do too
weird when
much
you add
for it.
viable grass types in. The one good
Yeah.
grass type falls off.
Yeah, well,
R-
that's
R- Rabombi just kind of doesn't do anything either. Like does Pollen Puff and Moonblast Stab, which is cool. It
it's like
has
speed
Quiver
swap.
Dance and
Like
Speed
that
Swap.
was always
yeah.
what it's done in the past. Was
It's
like it
also
was
just
always just like
not
a
that
gimmick mon.
fast. It's
Yeah.
not that fast, and in this format, it's not really gonna do much.
I think
Yeah.
you could probably add in like another tier of just like this is mons that just have like a single gimmick, and when they get to do the gimmick, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like
It's like okay, it's passable.
things like Rabombi and Golem fit into that.
Torterra.
Yeah, like Torterra, like mons that like when you get to do the thing, it's really funny and really cool.
Again, great content Pokemon. I think Komao, our last Pokemon, it's weirdly enough, I think it's like a cool content Pokemon because it's like, oh, look at like the was it Klingris Soul is the attack,
Yeah.
which is the funny button, and then but that funny button also gives you an Omni Boost, and
It's actually
it's
good.
like
The
actually
funny
like
button
really
hurts
good.
a lot.
The funny button's
Yeah.
actually like good. I think this
this is what a fighting type needs to do to be viable.
yeah. I think
And
it's
now with
it needs
Terra,
an
you can
Omni
Terra
boost.
away from that horrible typing, the
Yeah.
dragon
Oh
fighting
god,
stab.
it's so atrocious.
And now you get stab like Terra Steel flash cannons, or you can run the body press stuff with Iron Defense, which is always fun.
yeah.
Um,
I think it's an A tier mon.
I think it's A tier as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
I was leaning towards A. I'm just like, it
It has
sounds
a
like
couple
that's
of
what you all are
viable
leaning
sets.
towards.
It's really bulky, can be really annoying, especially if you put screens. I'm sure you put a Alola Ninetales next to it. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a pain in the butt to knock out.
Or again,
And like you can be
and
like,
it just sits there.
you can be like Clanger Soul plus Clear Amulet, so like you don't get intimidated, and then you can just like Drain Punch to get your HP back.
if
Like,
you want
Well,
to
you
go
want
physical,
special.
you want, but yeah, you could do special with Throat Spray because Klingris Soul
very
procs
true. Yeah,
Throat
that's
Spray.
another very
So,
viable set.
You
And
get
then you just use clanging scales or whatever the
Yep.
move is.
yeah, like so the set that Wolf ran, it was the Throat Spray set with Clanging Scales, Klingris Soul, and Flash Cannon. And again, he said I was watching the stream yesterday, and he said that the +2 Flash Cannon, I think you have to be Terra Steel, but the Terra Steel +2 Flash Cannon will pick up a Flutter Mane. And once you get that plus, you can make it so that once you get that +1 speed boost, you should be able to outspeed most non booster flutters. So that it's like a really really cool Pokemon. The other thing is weird with its typing, if you do get rid of the Flutter Mane, or like your opponent, like for some reason you're playing one of the teams that just doesn't have a Flutter. Dragon's a really really good type right now because you have all of these elemental attacks from Ogerpon, and now by being a Dragon type, you actually resist those attacks. I wouldn't be shocked if Terra Dragon actually becomes I'm not saying a popular Terra type, but I think it could potentially become like a niche, more than niche special occasion type on some Pokemon because of the fact that you're able to pick up that resistance on whatever Ivy Cudgel your opponents. Well, 3 of the 4 Ivy Cudgels that could be coming your way. So having I think being a dragon actually is relatively useful because of this new super popular Pokemon that, to be quite honest, you're going to see in more Ogerpons of different kinds than you will Flutter Mane.
I feel good about this list.
You guys are going to have to write me an apology.
I can't wait to
once
come back to this in like a month and a half and be like, man, we are so bad at this.
Oh, always. No, I think we got one Pokemon right.
Yeah, Morpico's really bad.
Yeah, no, awful. I'm going to love the apology
the
you guys
correct
give
answer is like Ambipom's going to be up here with like S tier mons, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's going to
it's
be
actually going to be an
development of the
Ogerpon
format.
tier.
He's
And
actually
Ambipom's
going to have
gonna
a
kick-
tier above.
It's going to kick
guys are
Ogerpon out of
legitimately driving me to
Ogerpon
hate a Pokemon.
on tier.
Hell yeah. That's my goal. If I can make you just like rage quit the podcast every week, I'm doing something right.
Facts.
Jay, close us out.
All right. I'm gonna save this so I can send it to Carl.
All right, I'm gonna hit y'all with the outro then. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you check out the Twitter at LR Lessons. Come join the community Discord. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. If you're listening over on Spotify or Apple Music, leave us with a rate. We have a Patreon. We have a Discord supporter. We have the website at lrlessons.com. We have the Twitch as well. I have one. Carter has one. Angelo has Twitter and Blue Sky and maybe Twitch.
I do. I mean, I have the capture card. I don't know if I'm not sure if I'm going to do Twitch or if I'm going to do YouTube, but something's coming at some point in October when I
Yeah.
can finally breathe.
We have some plans for some content coming soon. Shout out to our Patreon supporters, Johnny Bravo Sr. and Papa Swish, and shout out to our Discord supporter, Smeargle. If you want to get your name shouted out at the end of these awesome episodes, all you have to do is join our $10 tiers or above. So make sure you check that out as well. I think I nailed the outro this time.
It was better than every outro I've ever done ever. So
Let's go! The bar was so low, but I set it a little bit higher.
all right. I think with that being said, I'm gonna go watch the Raiders do Raider things and just be terrible. So that's gonna be it for me this week, everyone. Thank you so much, and until next week, have a good one. Peace.